Welcome to Thursday Theological Thought. I'm so glad you joined us today. We have a great question we want to consider. What do we know about angels? What are they, and what is their purpose? Angels, we see and hear about them in almost every aspect of our lives, from statues and cities, Christmas ornaments, to cities, to shapes we see that are formed in rock, and yes, even our own lives. But what do we actually know about angels? Let's take a moment to discuss this and understand the truth about angels as we know it from Scripture. First, angels are created beings and are thus a part of God's creation. However, they're not humans, but they're spirits. In Luke chapter 24, verse 39, Jesus highlights the distinction between what is simply spirit and what human beings are when he says, "See my hands and my feet, that it is I myself. Touch me and see, for a spirit does not have flesh and bones as you see that I have." So the popular misconception that people become angels when they die is simply not true. Second, they're sent by God as messengers who do His will. This is probably the most important and frequent reference to who angels are and what they do. They are the servants of God and do His will. This type of activity from angels shows up in numerous places throughout Scripture. In the Old Testament, Abraham is approached by just such a messenger, giving him instructions from God regarding his son Isaac. God approaching his prophets by way of angels on numerous occasions. In a vision in Ezekiel chapter 40, the prophet Ezekiel is shown a detailed plan for the new temple, which he was subsequently to share with the people of Israel. They protect and they sustain. What wonderful agents of God's mercy. And that's just the Old Testament. In the New Testament, angels are front and center, announcing the births of both John the Baptist and Jesus. They sing praise to God at Jesus' birth and warn Joseph to flee to Egypt, thus assuring the continuation of God's plan of salvation. Third, they're powerful. My favorite example of the power of angels is the single angel who destroyed Sennacherib's army of 185,000 soldiers in 2 Kings chapter 19:35, as well as Isaiah 37, verse 36. However, this may be a technical reference to the pre-incarnate Christ as the one who is referred to as the messenger of the Lord. Nevertheless, Scripture mentions repeatedly that angels are quite powerful. For instance, in Psalm 103, verse 20, it asserts that they excel in strength. But of course, their power never supersedes that of God, their Creator. They protect God's people. Throughout Scripture, we see that angels guard and protect God's people. The psalmist states, "For He, God, will command His angels concerning you, to guard you in all your ways. On their hands they will bear you up, lest you strike your foot against a stone." But one place in particular is quite fascinating. Jesus says the following about angels in Matthew chapter 18, verse 10. "See that you do not despise one of these little ones, for I tell you that in heaven their angels always see the face of my Father who is in heaven." Many ask the question when reading this verse, does this mean that there are guardian angels? The short answer is, we don't know for sure. This is all Jesus says about the matter, and it's far from conclusive. Nevertheless, we can't say that God cares for the little ones, that is to say, disciples, believers, to the extent that He cares for them and in some way provides angelic messengers to assist Him in our care. In the end, we see that God shows His care, providence, and mercy by making use of His angelic messengers in service to us. May this truth be of comfort to you, but may it ultimately lead you time and again back to the foundational truth that God's great mercy and care, indeed your salvation and that of creation, was accomplished through His Son, Jesus, the one the angels worship and adore. That's our Thursday Theological Thought for this week. I thank you so much for joining me. Christ's peace be with you.